Tell me, would you even hear it if you're the only one who sees it? Can tell if it's make-believe or I'm in a dream, been here 1,000 times. Happy up until the morning, calling her without a warning. Can tell if it's make-believe or I'm in a dream, have I lost my mind? 'Cause I'm holding on to the feeling, even as the flames start to rise, sipping over smoke with my head high. Heaven only knows I've been through hell and back tonight. Dancing through the tears in my eyes, I just start to fall in distant skies. Take a deep breath again and then I realize I'm holding on.
Hello, everybody. Welcome and grand day to all of you that are tapping in and join us on this very first episode of Spiritual Recovery. And I am one of your co-hosts, Marcus Christolight of Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. And I am joined by our other co-host, Mary Beth of Day One Life Coaching. And before we dive into our topics and start our discussion today, revolving around addiction, patterns, relationship, and other conscious topics of our everyday life, I want to briefly introduce myself a little bit to you guys so you guys can know who I am as one of your co-hosts of this space and why I am here to speak about what it is that I'm going to speak on and what type of knowledge and wisdom I have in my background. So a little bit about myself. I am a multifaceted Reiki practitioner. I am attuned to a Sui Raiho of Japanese tradition, as well as Sekam of ancient Egypt, as well as Ascended Master techniques. I am also a certified crystal healer, and I also do light language activations, oracle card readings. I also help people with inner child healing, as well as generational pattern clearing, subconscious reprogramming, and I also teach and specialize in chakra balancing. Along with this, I also do Akashic Record soul origin meditations to help people uncover their soul lineage and their higher self and heal any parts of their DNA regarding their travel, not just on the human level, but on the soul level. Along with that, I also do life coaching and life guidance intuitively. I work with shadow work integration as well as developing daily habits and patterns to help you prioritize your well-being throughout your everyday life regarding anything with your schooling, having children, anything like that. I'm here to help you be able to structure and take a look at your schedule and help you build healthy patterns for yourself. And then I also am a host of retreats, and I also facilitate and teach at festivals and events. And then lastly, I am a full-on editor and producer of my own production company, Sacred Light Productions. And I produce podcasts, shows, biographies, and I also produce guided meditations as well. So that's a little bit about myself. I've had a journey in addiction, as well as I've been to prison for a year due to the life of addiction and abusing and overusing substances. And through these practices and the things that I teach and that I facilitate and offer, they were able to help bring healing and restoration to the parts of me that were developing into addiction and were the roots behind my addictive patterns. So I continue today to share that wisdom, share the knowledge that I've used that has helped me become who I am today. That's me, Marcus Christolight, founder of Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to our co-host, Mary Beth.
Thank you, Marcus. And thanks for having me, by the way. I really loved your introduction. It's beautiful, the work that you're doing. Similar to you, I do love to help others because of my past addiction as well. I've been I'm the founder of Day One Life Coaching. We all have a day one, right? When we want to start uh, new habits or kick our old habits, get rid of addictions. I definitely struggled with alcohol as well. Um, I wasn't in jail for a year. I didn't know that about you. That's awful. Gosh, but I was arrested for a DUI once. What I do with my job is I like to help people who are going through the same things that I went through. So for instance, if you're struggling with alcohol, a lot of addictions, a lot of us have an addictive personality. So like for instance, I was struggling with toxic relationships. So that's another thing I love to help people with is toxic relationships, codependency. They're really hard to get out of. And it's interesting because I have so many clients right now who are in that situation. Instead of alcohol or drugs, they're stuck in a toxic, codependent relationship that they're trying to get out of. So there's that. And so basically what I like to say is I help people heal relationships and addictions. So those are the main things. And food addiction is a huge one lately. The food that we eat, we can't quit food. So we just have to learn I help people also with patterns, like you were saying, Marcus, because it's all subconscious. There's always a reason that we get into addictive behaviors. Sometimes it's trauma as a child. Sometimes we're just trying to escape reality. Sometimes we're trying to fill a void. For me, it was all of the above. So it was the perfect storm for addiction. But yeah, so that's what I do right now. And I do one-on-one coaching, group coaching. I'm also the author of Addiction Recovery with the Law of Attraction. I teach Law of Attraction is my passion. So those are the things that I'd love to talk about with these episodes.
That is quite the background you have. And yeah, I'm just really grateful to be here, grateful for our connection and the space that we are holding today and going to continue to hold. I definitely trust and know that there are many out there that could really use this type of information as well as space to be able to connect, to be able to make comments, ask questions, to receive guidance in real time, as well as be able to participate in any practices or cards that get pulled throughout these different podcasts. As it definitely brings medicine and can bring some very valuable divine reminders to us.
Absolutely. And ask any question that you want, because I guarantee that, if you're thinking it, somebody else has had the same question in mind, so don't be shy. We've heard it all. Another addiction that a lot of people face these days, porn addiction. That's a big one. And people don't understand how much it affects not only you, but if you're in a relationship, it definitely takes away from the intimacy of it. So even things like that, we're willing to discuss whatever you guys want to talk about. And if it's afterwards, if it's after our live, go ahead and comment and we'll get back to you. We'll get back to you also later on.
Yes, indeed. There are many, many topics that can be touched on when it comes to addictive behaviors and just patterns as a whole. And yeah, like she was saying, feel free, like in the comments, either during or afterwards on the replay or on the YouTube channel, feel free to drop down below like anything that you would like to have a discussed topic on. And I'm not sure if Mary is, but I'm sure she may be. We may be open to also having, guests come on as well that align and resonate with the intention and the knowledge of these spaces. So that's something that could be possible moving forward is, having other experts and other professionals and other conscious minds be able to join us in these spaces as well.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, it's all about, I think we're both in alignment on really, in order to quit any addiction, it's got to be a holistic approach, mind, body, and spirit. Wouldn't you agree, Marcus? You can't just do one or the other. It's got to be a complete holistic healing. And you can really get to that point where you don't have the cravings anymore. Because for me, it was a vibrational craving. Like for me, it was like that, mostly trying to fill that void. And I think we can get to that place where we've actually expanded, like our soul's expanded, but then we're not allowing ourselves to be that person. So we're trying to fill this gap. Like we know that we're supposed to be doing more. We're creators. We're here to create. And when we're sitting around in our addiction, just being obsessed with, the next fix, the next drink, what I'm going to eat next, things like that with food. So it's a huge addiction, when we're not happy with our bodies, and then it can just compound, it's temporary. And that's why the spiritual recovery is so important, because the spiritual recovery is permanent, and you no longer have that temporary fix of, oh yeah, it's fun to be drunk, right? It's fun in the moment. It's fun for a few hours. It's great. I admit it. It's great. But then what happens? That's so temporary, and it's such a huge trade-off, especially the older you get, right? Like you're young, Marcus. I'm about to turn 50. I didn't quit drinking until 5 years ago, when I was finally like, nothing bad even happened. When I got arrested, that was earlier. That was in 2008. And that was for a DUI. And I was like, oh, everybody gets DUIs. That's no big deal. All my friends had one, but who are we hanging out with? Who are our influences? Who are we comparing ourselves to? Right. So we got to take a look at that and be like, it's not normal to get DUIs, by the way. And it's great. We have Uber now. I would have loved to have Uber back then. But, anyway, I just really think that that's the whole biggest point, is that it has to be a holistic healing. We have to actually change our identity. We can no longer be the person who does these things. Like I can't be the girl who would go order, wine at lunch anymore, right? Because I never just would have one or two. I had a problem with moderation. I wouldn't have one or two. Like I didn't have a stop button. And if you're not a moderator, you got to be an abstainer. There really is no in between, because you're always going to end up backward at square one. You always are. And I had to prove that to myself time and time again before I finally quit, and just said enough is enough. I knew too much about energy. We should talk a little bit about that too, Marcus. Is, when I'm teaching law of attraction, and I'm over here knowing, I knew I'm screwing up my vibration. I knew too much to continue doing that. Like I am self-sabotaging. I am defeating myself instead of setting myself up for the best day I could have. I was doing quite the opposite, and like I said, not being good at moderation was not helpful, because I would promise I could moderate sometimes. Like I could even have 20 times in a row where I'd only have a couple glasses of wine. I could do that. But that 21st time, man, I was going to go overboard, and I was going to hate my day, hate myself, be in the lower vibrations of shame and guilt. And I don't know. I kind of think those lower vibrations are worse than the actual substance that we're abusing sometimes. But I mean, it felt that way to me. Like I would just beat myself up so hard, when I did screw up. And I'm going to say inevitably, like I can't F with alcohol anymore. I don't know if I can cuss on here, but I can't F with alcohol anymore, because I know it's always, huh?
No
What'd
cussing.
you say? Okay.
No cussing. No, I'm just playing. You can cuss, of course.
Well, YouTube does kind of censor things out, so I didn't know if that's a good idea. So I'll just use the F word. I'll just say F. So, I just know I'll always end up back at that spot, even though I can moderate for a while. It's inevitable. It's not worth the trade-off. We got to sometimes get to that point where sometimes it's just getting so sick of yourself is when you're going to listen. If you're not sick of yourself, no one's going to quit. We can't make anybody quit. You got to get to that point yourself and be committed. Like when I get a client, I want them to have already reached that point where they know that they know that they know. It's a knowing that they are done. they might not have quit yet, but they know that in their heart and in their soul that it's bringing them down. It's preventing them from living their best lives. And it's time to let it go. It's no longer serving you.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk, Marcus.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all that. It's very valuable stuff, and just really good everyday human reminders. And then I know you said, it's really emphasized that we do it from a holistic approach. So what does that mean to you? What does it mean to go by a holistic approach to this that you're speaking on?
So it could be different for everybody. For me, when I say mind, body, and spirit is holistic. So for me, what I did, I think it's really important, and I know it's really important when we're quitting something to replace that with a healthy habit. So I like to get really practical about things, like what can my clients do straight away? You can't just quit drinking alcohol and then like sit around. You're going to be crawling out of your skin. You have to find things to do to replace that. So what I did during that time where I used to go to happy hour, I would start going to the gym. That's so I kind of, it was a bit of a cross addiction, Marcus. Like I definitely was like, I turned into a gym rat, so to speak, because I got a little bit obsessed. That's because it's in my nature. It's in like, I have an addictive personality. I've always been impulsive. I've always been, and by the way, there's only about 25% of people who like can just like have a reasonable amount of things. Like, most of us are going to go overboard. Most of us 75% of us have the addictive tendencies, at least a tendency at minimum. And so it's very rare. Like the 25% will stop drinking at the appropriate time. They'll open the bag of chips and only eat a certain amount, the actual serving size. It's very rare. It's actually, there's not that many people who eat a reasonable amount and drink a reasonable amount. Most of us go overboard a little bit. It's human nature. When something's good, when we have that pleasure, that the pleasure centers are, in our brain, we want more. It's nothing to beat yourself up about. It's just something to become aware of. Notice those patterns, make those patterns, bring them to your conscious mind. So that's where you can heal them. You can't heal anything until you're aware of it, right? So that's part of the mind. So going to the gym, the mind, that's the body, but the mind part is really doing that work and just being mindful, start noticing, like, what am I feeling? Sitting with your feelings. It's okay to feel your feelings, people. Like, I was always numbing myself before. I didn't want to feel my feelings, trying not to think about the past. We shouldn't really dwell on the past, but it just happens sometimes where things that have happened in our past kind of creep up on us, and then we want to drink it away or smoke it away, eat it away, stuff down those feelings. But we do got to get to a point eventually when we're willing to do that work and sitting with those feelings, not dwelling on them, but acknowledging them. And we aren't our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. We are the witness, the observer of our thoughts. So we got to get to that point where we can just be mindful and observe them without dwelling on them and letting your emotions drive you down to depression, right? It's okay. Like, it's okay to feel things and, just be the witness. And then with the spiritual stuff, I'm a spiritual junkie. You're a spiritual junkie. I think that just getting involved, just really, I've always been a spiritual junkie though, but now I'm every day, all day. I live it. I walk the walk. I don't just talk the talk. I am living it. And that is what keeps me. This is what changed my identity, Marcus. Like before, like I do think you need an energy shift. Like I don't get cravings for things because that vibrational craving that I had is being filled with this spiritual things. So I don't have that void anymore. And so I think mind, body, spirit would be different for somebody else though. They might not be into the same things I'm into. They might not want to go to the gym. But go at least take walks and be in nature, and at least try meditation, try quieting. All that means is quieting your mind. If that's all you can do for 15 minutes, that's amazing. Like, because most of us don't. Most of us just let the mind chatter there all the time. Breath work helped me immensely. Breath work. And this just popped into my mind. So somebody who watches this might be like into music. Like, what is it that's for you individually that's like going to change, that raise your vibration? Because a lot of this, when I say I teach law of attraction, it's all about raising your vibration to that point where you don't need you don't get those cravings anymore, like, because you're fulfilling yourself in better ways, in healthy ways, right? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
What did you do, Marcus? How did you quit? What were some of the steps you took? I'm sure it was a process like me.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay.
Big question.
And then to Jerry Young in Facebook on the comments, we'll get to your question here in a moment after I share, just so you know, so you can just know that we've acknowledged the question, and we'll definitely pull it up for you in a moment.
Hi, Jerry Young. I know him.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome to the space. And then on Instagram side, thank you for being here, Sandra. And then thank you to Surya as well. Surya actually, she said congratulations to your sobriety. And then she also said that she is currently moderating at the moment, but feels like that she is drinking most days, so it may be becoming a bit of a habit.
Yeah. It's a slippery slope. It really is. Anyone can fall into it very easily.
Yeah. So back to the question, what is it that I do, or what is that I've done to basically dissolve these addictive patterns and habits from a holistic approach? And holistic to me means being able to see things from a multi-layered perspective or a multi-dimensional perspective, which is what we actually are as human beings in our nature. Is we are multi-dimensional beings. We are not just a physical body. And some of us may believe that we just are a physical body because of what we've been taught. And when it comes to what we are on a multi-dimensional level, is there are many different quote unquote bodies or layers that make up the human being within the whole entire energy field of that human. So within your aura, within your whole entire energy field, there's these basically like Russian doll like layers that stack and harmonize with each other. And then these layers are living continuous motion. So it's always moving. It's a toroidal field of energy and electromagnetism. And with that being said, some of these layers are your mental body, your emotional body, your astral body. And then you have your energy or light body and your physical body. So actually, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and pull up an image for you guys so you guys can get a diagram of what this looks like. And then this will give you guys a lot more justice on what it is that I'm explaining.
Are there 32 layers of our auric field, Marcus? I heard there's 32. Is that correct or no?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know. You always hear so many different things about how many chakras we have, how many aura layers we have. I just know with this diagram specifically, this one is focusing on 7.
Yeah.
And then of course there may be more out there, but in this diagram, we're focusing on 7. So if you take a look, and we'll go ahead and make this a little bit bigger for you. There we go. So if you guys see here, this is a beautiful, very basic and tangible diagram of what it is that I'm trying to explain. So we have these many different layers within our aura. And if you start at what I would say is layer 1, but they didn't put it for some reason. I guess you can say it's layer 0 on this diagram. It'd be your physical body. And your physical body is your most lowest vibrational and most densest form of your human being. Now, this isn't about good or bad. This is not about positive or negative. This is just about vibration and energy and what it is as a form. So this physical form body is our most dense and lowest vibrational form. It's our third dimensional body. So then the next layer out from that, if you look, is layer 1. Layer 1 is called the etheric body. There's many names for this body, and I actually have a whole entire series on my YouTube channel teaching about the light body. And the light body, also known as the etheric body, or the energy body, or even the metaphysical body, is a subtle layer of energy that basically acts as a outline and blueprint for our physical avatar. This outline and blueprint is like a roadmap. It holds the matrix, it holds the codes, the light codes, to go into our DNA system to then be plugged into the human avatar genetics. And then through other ways, such as the chakras. The chakras are part of the etheric body. This is why the chakras are referenced as metaphysical, because they are the layer between physical and pure spiritual light, making it metaphysical. So with this being said, with the energy body being that roadmap, that blueprint system, it's basically like the binding or the bridge for layers 2 to 7 to be able to be experienced and expressed through layer 0, your physical body. Without this etheric body blueprint, we wouldn't have a matrix. We wouldn't have a blueprint system that allows our non-living physical avatar to be able to become living through conscious spiritual energy, emotional energy, mental energy, and others. So this is why in ancient traditions and practices for a long, long time, all over the world in many different cultures, you see the focus and the studies on activating our meridians, activating our chi, activating our chakras. These are all parts of activating your light body or your etheric body. And the more that that's activated, the more you have your intuition flowing through you, you have consciousness flowing through you, you have your electrical system flowing, as well as your chakras. And that's a whole other topic for another day, chakras. Chakras are basically gateways or portals into different dimensions of emotional and mental energies to be experienced, manifested, and expressed throughout your human being. And the more we have blockages within this blueprint, this energy body and the chakras, then the more prone we are to manifesting illness and disease throughout our being. So with all this being said, I started really learning more and more about, what we are and who we are as human beings on this multidimensional level from a holistic approach. And those are those layers that I'm talking about when I say the layers that we are diving into and the layers that we are peeling back to be able to heal and identify the root causes behind what it is that is manifested and being experienced in the physical realm. So with the physical realm being our most lowest and dense vibrational form, that means the physical body is also the slowest to be able to integrate. It is the slowest to experience whatever energy or information is coming into our field. So it funnels and it gets experienced through the mental body first. That's why when you think about something, you'll be thinking of it before you physically feel it or you physically experience it. So it goes through the mental body. And then from the mental body, you then sense it and you feel it through your emotional body. And then through that emotional body, it then goes into your physical body, and then you sense it mentally, emotionally, and then physically. Now, of course, it's a very simultaneous and very quick process, depending upon how healthy and clean your energy field in the system is. But some things that really helped me was, number one, becoming aware of all this and really studying it and trying to remember, what it is that we are. Number two is incorporating meditations routinely, whether it was in the rising or later on in the day when I felt like I was feeling a little clouded and blocked up. Just utilizing a really quick 10-minute, 15-minute meditation on YouTube has always done me wonders. Every day I get up, before I get out of bed, I do a 10-minute chakra balance meditation to make sure that I'm clearing out those dimensions of my emotions, mind, and body to be able to have a fresh, clean energy that's grounded, balanced, and activated before I even interact and take on other energies in the world. Along with that, just continuing to explore, be creative, have fun with seeing all the different holistic, conscious, fun, and beautiful things that we have in this world, whether it be yoga, going to a yoga class, meeting people there, going to festivals with conscious, like-minded individuals, going to retreats, as well as listening to podcasts, continuing to reach out and ask questions to the people that I knew that were either holistic practitioners, teachers, and others. Along with this, more than anything, the biggest thing that really helped me is just coming to that sense of awareness of myself, and through my heart, realizing the value that I have in those around me, as in feeling and realizing, the impact I have on people around me from a whole entire perspective. Just knowing that as an impactful person, whether it's positive or negative, quote unquote, my energy affects the people that are around me. People, I don't want to say rely on me or depend on me, but there is something about me and my energy that people feel safe. People feel like they can rely upon me. So the more I came to that remembrance that people really value that about me, those are the small things that also help me kind of return back to my heart and turn back to that realization that, okay, maybe I am kind of going a little bit too far off into my own self-righteousness and my own patterns, and I can probably, really use a little dedication and devotion to getting rid of this stuff and clearing it out of me. And then last thing I want to say is having that beautiful foundation of, number one, respecting yourself, and number two, giving yourself grace and giving yourself compassionate love through the process.
Absolutely. That's what I was saying earlier, but that shame and guilt I felt was more dangerous than than the actual substance. I would just beat myself up so much. And once I learned to be gentle with myself and have compassion on the spiritual recovery journey, that really was helpful. And just be kind to yourself.
Yes. Oh, and then last thing too, and this was a pretty big one, is my diet. Diet plays a factor more than we may think. Continuously eating junk food, continuously eating things that were lowering my vibration and really causing me to go into states of desperation and states of just feeling very out of control of myself due to how the food would make me feel and everything. I'd be more prone to falling back into those patterns, using different things and attaching
100%. Yeah,
due
100%.
to keeping my vibration low due to what I'm digesting. And then when I'm eating alkaline or I'm eating healthy, I'm eating clean, I notice that I feel more supported internally. I feel more filled within myself, not feeling like I need to have cravings, feeling like I need to have something more. And also keep in mind too, everybody out there, try not to kind of demonize yourself or think that there's something wrong with impulsive energy. As human beings, we are literally made off of impulsive energy. And as human beings, we have an impulse. That's our vital life force. So the thing is like, what are you doing with that impulse? Are you just unconsciously giving it away? Are you just unconsciously attaching it to everything? Are you draining it? Are you using it to siphon or to draw in other people in, lower desire ways? Or are you using that impulse of energy into raising it up your chakras or raising it up your being into your heart, into your throat, into your mind's eye, into your creations, into your projects, things of that nature? So keep in mind, an impulse is a natural creation for a human being, but really it's like, what are we doing with that impulse? Are we being conscious with it? Are we having the patience and the groundedness to be able to cultivate, hold on to that impulse, kind of swallow it for a moment, and then raise it up, and then continue to build and harness that vital life force as time goes on? And that's where many different practices come in, like, for men, semen retention, celibacy, not watching porn, things of that nature. Those are ways of allowing yourself to consciously cultivate that life force energy into higher purposes.
Yeah, the diet thing, just to add on to that a little bit, is huge. You guys eat real food no matter what you do. Like Marcus and I, we don't eat the same thing, but we both eat real food. We both eat whole foods. Stay away from preservatives and chemicals as much as you can, because it is lower vibrational food versus higher vibrational food, and it will bring you down, just like Marcus said. And speaking of impulsive, I've been diagnosed with ADHD, OCD, anxiety, depression, all of that. I'm not medicated on anything. We can bring that back. We can, as long as we are doing the holistic work, mind, body, spirit. Like, you don't have to. I think a lot of my alcohol was self-medication, to be honest with you. I think it was. And in all of this work, I've been able to get off of everything completely. So, and I love my ADHD. My impulsive stuff is amazing. It's like you said, you can harness it in, you can harness that big energy and be conscious of what you're doing. And you can actually use it to be an amazing creator. Like, I never run out of energy. I've got big energy. And, we have a choice on what we do with that energy, right? Just like Marcus was saying, we have a choice. We don't have to be impulsive and go do the drug or go kind of get into negative relationships on it, because dating apps are huge, right? We can, it's so easy for us to just get into a bad situation really quickly. We got Tinder, we got all these things, and if you're an impulsive person and you don't harness that energy, you can easily find yourself in a lot of maybe situations you prefer not to be in, after the fact. It seems fun in the moment, just like with drinking. Everything's fun in the moment, but just think about, the trade-off. Is it worth that trade-off? Was it really that fun? And was it worth all the drama? So, we forgot to get to Jerry Young's question. Is he still on here?
Yeah, I mean, I still had it in my mind. I was just flowing with things. But I was gonna say we could hit it as soon as you were done.
I'm finished.
All right. So yeah, Jerry Young on Facebook, and thank you for your question. So Marcus and Mary Beth, great show so far. Thank you. I do have a question. How does addiction to alcohol and drugs affect the brain long term? Thanks, Jerry. I know I won't sit here and act like I'm a professional when it comes to addiction as well as substance abuse. So I can give a little bit of my own perspective,
Mhm.
but what do you think, Mary Beth?
My spiritual perspective is that we can heal everything. We can, like, I know I did some damage. Look, I drank over 30 years, over 30 years. So there's no way that that didn't have almost, yeah, 30 years. There's no way that I didn't damage my brain. In many ways, I caused a lot of anxiety for myself, to be honest with you. There's a saying that drinking alcohol is like pouring gasoline on anxiety, and that's definitely true. Like, it dysregulated my nervous system. I would wake up in the middle of the night anxious, at 3 a.m. because alcohol is a depressant, and our body does a natural thing by creating stimulants. Our body naturally creates stimulants to counteract that depressant that we introduced, the alcohol. So, I created a lot of problems in my body by dysregulating my nervous system. And to be honest, I was not healed overnight. I do feel like even though it's been 5 years, I feel like I'm still going through a healing process. But I believe in my heart of hearts, like, not being on any medication and having 2 businesses and being able to do everything I do, like, I'm doing a pretty damn good job. I think if I could heal this much, anybody can. I'm not special. We can all heal. It's just making that decision, making that commitment. It's a daily thing, guys. Like, I don't sit there and think about alcohol and be like, I want alcohol. But what I do every day, every day that I set myself up for success. I get good sleep. Sleep is so huge. Sleep is huge. If you're off on your sleep, and that was what alcohol messes with. If you're not sleeping well and you're drinking, that's part of the reason, at least part, if not all the reason. So what I learned too with our circadian rhythm is we need to go to bed at the same time and wake up around the same time every day. And when I was drinking, I was all over the place. I'd go to bed at 2 a.m. sometimes, 6 p.m. other time, just whatever, just take naps. And my body didn't know what to do. So going to sleep at the same time, waking up at the same time was a game changer. It sounds so simple, but that's the best practical tip I'm going to give you guys today, as far as, but you're not going to be able to do that if you're drinking, because with me, drinking kept me awake. So it messes with your sleep cycle. You're not getting into that deep state. So yeah, it's proven scientifically that alcohol and drugs do affect your brain long-term. Having said that, I also believe that we are self-healers. We can heal ourselves, be patient. It takes time. We didn't, if you drink for 30 years, you can't expect to have an overnight, oh, I'm completely better. Like, my nervous system is still getting to that point where, I'm getting more regulated. It's better and better every day. But I can tell you, within the first month of not drinking, I felt so amazing. So it's not like you're feeling like crap along the way. Every day is an improvement, like, my only regret is not quitting drinking sooner. Because it's like, I knew it was holding me back. And, like I said, I didn't have a rock bottom. You don't have to have a rock bottom, you guys. You don't have to have a rock bottom to quit.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to have the desire to want to feel good and to want to have a high vibration. And when you raise your vibration and, you're up in those higher, like, if we show that today, the emotional guidance system, when we're in those higher frequencies, we're gonna be able to manifest what we want more. Like, we're working against ourselves, then wondering why our life's not going great. Well, it's because we're thinking the same thoughts, having the same habits. Our days are just recycled. We're doing the same things that we did before. We're not changing our patterns, and then of course nothing's changing. Nothing changes until you change. So that's what I would say about that. I do believe in full spiritual recovery. I feel like I'm just getting better, but I already, like, if I don't get any better than I am today, I'm still extremely thankful. I feel amazing every day. Way better than I did when I was drinking. I'm so thankful every morning I wake up that I don't have a hangover, or even 2 glasses of wine were messing with my sleep, messing with my next day, messing with my vibe. It just got to the point where I had enough of it. Enough of it. I want to feel good. And I have a Facebook group called Addicted to Feeling Good, and I named it after that because that's my new addiction. Feeling good. Let that be your addiction. So Marcus, what do you have to say about healing yourself, your brain or?
Well, I'm very much in the alignment of, like the Joe Dispenzas and the Bruce Liptons and
Me too.
all them people. It's not a belief, honestly, for me at this point. It's a knowing
Yes.
that, number one, it's already been scientifically proven a long, long time ago that the human body is designed to heal itself when it's given the proper environment, the proper support, and the proper space to even just be able to do it on its own. And understanding the multidimensionalness of who we are as vibrational and energetic beings, also being non-finite beings that are always interchangeable and always alchemizing, we are always possible to recalibrate and regenerate our being as long as we are doing the things to support that and give us an environment to support that. So as long as you are doing the things that will vibrationally help correct or realign, repair, and regenerate your vibrational and energetic being, it's always possible. Now, if you're continuing to do the same patterns, the same routines, being in the same environments, not getting rid of the limited beliefs and all these different things, then yes, it's probably gonna be very, very difficult for you to be able to overcome that. But if you are digging into that willpower, into that courage, and trying to make change, taking steps, following along the way, but still picking yourself up, knowing that it's going to be a process and a journey, then it's all possible. It's always possible.
Yeah.
And you can start with the mind. Start with your mindset. Your mindset could start with simply even just being either I'm an addict the rest of my life and I'm going to have to deal with these long-term effects, or you can shift your perspective out of your own free will and shift your perspective to I'm a spiritual being. I'm a vibrational being that is ever changing, that is able to alchemize, that is able to shift and heal myself as long as I do the things and continue to support myself in that nature. And with that being said, I'm not an addict. I'm not an addict the rest of my life. I am a human being that is experiencing addictive behaviors. I am a human being that is going through what it's like to be addicted or have addiction. It is a difference when we choose these different perspectives that we are articulating to the universe as our reality. And we can place even more difficulties on our own self by shrinking us down into these most dense physical forms of identification. Or we can expand ourselves into that infinity of what we are, connected to spirit and source, remembering that we are connected to that eternal nature and we are an experiencer, observer that is experiencing these type of behaviors and patterns. It definitely goes a long way in, the strengths, the weaknesses that you'll carry, as well as the type of experiences, resistances, and struggles the universe is going to give you. Along with that, the emotions, tuning into your emotions, seeing where your emotions need healing, seeing where you may have stored emotions, seeing where the emotions may be a little bit overflowing in a way to where it's leaking everywhere onto people and it's projecting onto everybody. And then seeing physically, what parts of me physically are damaged, that need healing, that need affection, that need real nurturing. So then these physical parts of me are not continuing to keep me in pain, continuing to keep me in this feeling of needing something. So, I mean, if we're looking holistically at ourselves in these layers daily, taking action, reaching out for support and help if we don't know what to do, then we're going to be set up with a recipe of success. But we just have to remember too that grace along the process to know that as human beings, we are designed off of patterns. We are designed off of routines and habits. So the more consistent you are, the more intentional, and the more that you continue to be of repetition with what it is that you want to become and embody, then you will do so. But as long as we start and then quit and we don't have patience with ourselves and all this stuff, we're never going to be able to reattune and realign our being, because that's really what we're doing is we're reattuning and realigning our being to a certain embodiment frequency. And it takes a little bit of time through the patterns of repetition to solidify and mold that. So just know it's a process, and you guys can always reach out.
And I'm glad you said that, because like people don't realize that it's really not harder to do this stuff. It's just we've been practicing the other self-talk and practicing the patterns. So really we just kind of need to just do it in the other direction. Like I always say, it's not harder to think positive than it is to think negative thoughts, or beat ourselves up. It's not harder. It's just, what have we practiced more? So we need to just start practicing the other way. And I'm really glad you brought up the labeling thing. Like you didn't call it like I am an alcoholic. No, I don't say that. I did not go to AA, anything like that. If AA works for you, great. But for me, I am a person who used to have an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. And now I'm not, now I don't. So it's like, anytime we say I am, we are in creation mode. It's very powerful words. And we don't want to say I am, boom, fill in the blank, anything that we don't want to create, because we are in creation mode. So I am, say something good after those words. And we really, that's part of being mindful. That's part of what Marcus was talking about, is recognizing these patterns. And I'm all over Joe Dispenza, by the way. That's what I meant earlier with changing your identity. If you don't have an actual energetic shift and with your identity, then you're just going to be repeating the old patterns. Like you're going to get to that point. You can. If I can do it, no one would have thought I would quit drinking, by the way. I was the leader of the drinkers. I'd be the one keeping everyone out late. Okay. I was her. So for me to quit drinking, anyone can. I changed my identity. I'm just no longer that person. It's not an option. You can't leave the window open, guys. And does this mean one huge question I get asked all the time. So I know people, when they watch it later, whatever, will be wondering, do I have to give up my friends? You kind of touched on that earlier, Marcus. Our environment does change a little bit. If you have friends that you're always out partying with, absolutely. Like things will change. You could still keep your same friends. I kept a lot of my same friends, but we do different things together. I'm not out at a bar with them at 2 a.m. anymore. We're going to the gym earlier in the day, right? So it's not that you're going to lose all your friends, but the relationship will change a little bit. It's not as fun hanging out at a bar when you're not drinking. Mm-hmm. It's just a fact. It's not as fun. So you're definitely going to have some changes in your life. You're going to have a lot more time on your hands. So you want to find things that you can find fun, things that if you can't think of like, oh, I don't have any hobbies, I don't have any passions, try to remember back when you were little, when you were a kid, right? Before we got domesticated and all that, and all of our fun got squeezed out of us. Try to think back, like, what did you do? What did you love doing as a child? Sometimes our gifts are found in that, and we what we did as children, and we just forget and we push it down. It gets smothered out of us. So, or maybe it's not from your childhood. Maybe it's something that you just join a bunch of groups. Like there's meetups, join some groups, some sober groups. There's hiking groups. You could go meet other people and find things that you're passionate about as an adult. We can always find new things that, to replace those old habits. And I'm telling you, I thought I wasn't going to have fun. And like, oh, I can't have fun without drinking. It was just a lie I was telling myself. Like Marcus said earlier, limiting belief. It was a limiting belief that I had. And and also thinking I was going to lose all of my friends was a huge factor, and that didn't happen. So sometimes we're just lying to ourselves, and it's just, and also you got to be okay with losing some friends. It will happen because those aren't your friends anyway, though. I hate to say it. If they're only with you because you're drinking with them or doing drugs with them, or if it's a relationship that's toxic and they're not happy with you improving your life, it's probably not the right relationship for you. Sorry. But it's true.
That's true. And the last thing I want to say about that is, you know, something I find very helpful is focusing on your passions more, putting more energy and more time into your passions, the things that you love to do, the things that are helping create in this world. I know that's something that has tremendously helped me mentally, emotionally, physically, on every layer. And it really helps me feel like I have a purpose within me, and that I am doing something that is very fulfilling, not just for myself, but for others. So that's why you guys see me so consistent and so in routine with these podcasts, these shows, these retreats, these festivals, my services, and all these things, because these things have ended up becoming what has really steered me away and helped me stay away from going back to old substance abuse patterns and other things as well.
And why is that?
So I know
we are creators. We're powerful creators. If we're not creating, then we're not expanding. We're not doing what we're here to do. And then that void, we get that we fill that void. And so that's why we get into these bad habits, because we're trying to fill that void, but that creation itself will fill. We don't need the substances to fill it. Oh, yeah. That was piggybacking on what you were saying earlier about so these pictures were taken 13 years apart. The green one, I was doing a lot of drinking. And the other one, the bright one, is just months ago, maybe 6 months ago. I don't know. I mean, it could have been longer than that, but it's within the past year. And so this green one was 13 years prior. That little looks like I'm holding a sword or something. That's just because the picture's so old. It's just green. And I was definitely in a green represents healing. It could mean you're a teacher, but I was definitely in a phase for sure. And when they saw my picture this last time, they're like, oh my goodness, you've done so much work on yourself. And the work I've done on myself, it's apparent. Like, I kind of wish I had gone back and taken a picture every year and watched the transformation as it goes. But this is a 13-year difference, showing, it's just a huge difference in my auric field and the colors, and that all is higher level frequencies that you're seeing, like the crown chakra frequencies. I have this whole thing. Marcus helped me out. You probably know more about the colors than I do with the chakras.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm aware of like the colors in relation to the chakras, but I will say when it comes to the aura, I'm not fully aware of what the colors mean in the aura. Because I know in the aura,
have a printout, but I don't have it with me. They gave me this big printout. It's so many pages long, and it was all just a huge difference. Everything was like, you're connected, like your intuition's open, your crown chakra's open. I have the chakra pictures as well, actually, but that's for another day. But yeah, definitely was. It just is kind of interesting to have proof of the spiritual transformation, of the work you're doing, of getting rid of the toxic substances, of getting rid of the environmental issues. Even relationships were an environmental problem for me, like getting certain people out of my life definitely is healing. It's a healing thing. Before we go, I did pick a card before we got started. Marcus, is it okay if I read it from my deck?
Absolutely, please.
All right, I'm grabbing my deck. I have this deck, Addiction Recovery with the Law of Attraction. And I picked a card before we got started asking, okay, there's going to be, collective people watching this, what card will be the best? This is a deck. The reason I created this deck was because these are the ways that I got out of my addiction. And I decided to create this deck because I'm like, well, if it worked for me and I didn't go to AA and I did all spiritual recovery, it's going to work for other people too. So that's why I created that. And I do sell a deck if you want one to use at home, day1lifecoaching.com. Okay. So what I got is the Serve Others card. And on the bottom, it says, find yourself through serving others. Okay, so I'm going to read you the content on the back. Every card, there's 44 cards, and every card has content on the back. This was actually published as a book. Okay, this card suggests that the best way for you to release toxic thought patterns is to get out and serve others. One negative thought leads to another, which can cause a downward spiral. It is time to take control of your thoughts by getting out of your own head and begin focusing on others. There are endless ways you can serve people each and every day. It does not always have to be something big or time consuming, and it definitely does not need to cost you any money. Start off today by going out of your way to smile at people. You never know what strangers may be going through behind closed doors, and a simple smile can work wonders. You may choose to volunteer somewhere in your community. There is always a need for helpers, and a quick Google search will guide you in finding ways to volunteer in your area. There are often websites created for the sole purpose of connecting volunteers with organizations that will be a good match for one another. Help organize a charity or nonprofit event. Working directly with people in your community who are less fortunate than you will give you a fresh perspective on your personal issues. Once you are able to appreciate your blessings, it will be much easier to focus on what you have instead of focusing on lack. Some simple ideas you can incorporate today are: give out compliments, encourage someone to follow their dreams, be a good listener, become a mentor, buy the stranger behind you in line at Starbucks coffee, say thank you as much as possible, practice patience, donate to a charity anonymously, keep your promises, write a compliment on the signed receipt to your server when you tip at a restaurant. Pick one of these ideas or create your own to feel immediate relief. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. And that is a quote by Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. So that is it. That was the message that I got for the collective, for anyone watching this video. And it's huge because, like Marcus said earlier, when we're all up in our head, you're getting out there, finding a passion. Maybe your passion can just be simply volunteering, and you could volunteer doing anything. Just Google in your area. There's definitely a need, and you feel so good. When you stop thinking about yourself, do something for somebody else. You're going to feel great. Do that instead of going to the bar, going to happy hour. Just an idea.
For sure.
Practical idea. I try to make everything practical, like something that we could all do that today or tomorrow. Go volunteer somewhere. No one's going to turn you down to help.
Yeah, exactly. And wow, thank you for sharing that. So you make your own cards? You have your own cards available for the collective to purchase?
Yes. I sell them on my website, which is day1lifecoaching.com, DAYONE lifecoaching.com. And I wanted to sell them on Amazon. Right now, I'm only selling them in the United States just because the shipping is ridiculously expensive internationally. It costs more than my cards cost. Oh, for your viewers, coupon code TRANSFORM will get you $10 off. Transform. Use coupon code if you go to my website. So that'll work.
Okay. And then for everybody out there, the website, Day One Life Coaching.
Yeah, you got to spell out. You got
what it looks like for you guys. You guys can take a browse.
Yeah, I've got.
So yeah, you guys can check this out anytime. This is our wonderful sister Mary Beth's website.
And you go to
Go
like
ahead.
at the top, you go to where it says shop, and then you go to self-help. Yeah, self-help is where you're going to find the cards. I also sell essential oils that are like all law of attraction based, like vibe higher, serendipity, synchronicity. What's my other one? Yeah, I've got some. But so that's explains a little bit more about my cards. There's a video there. The idea is you just pick one every day. You pick one in the mornings and you follow the instructions. And some people don't do it that way. Some people like to pick a card and they actually practice the same card because it's a lot. It'll help with that, getting it into your neuroplasticity. Like we'll get Joe Dispenza. It'll help get it into your brain. If you want to master one card at a time, beautiful. Or you could pick a card every day, whatever you choose. I've had people who buy a deck and they just read the whole deck all at once because they want to learn law of attraction. Every card teaches law of attraction. So there's a lot of misinformation out there about law of attraction. I'm sure you've seen that, Marcus. It's
Oh gosh, yes.
it's infuriating when I see people treat it like superstition or something and
Oh man.
claim
Shoot. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it next episode. Like I'll talk about it, that's for sure.
Let's talk about all the misconceptions of law of attraction the next episode. I would love that. And my
For
son
sure.
is taking a shower in the background. I hope that's not too loud for him. He's at the wall right
Nah.
behind me. I can hear that. I'm like, hopefully that's not too loud and distracting.
That's all good.
I should have told him I was doing a live. Oops.
So yeah, I just wanted to, before we hop off, I wanted to show you guys too, like what I offer, what website you can go to see my services and the things that I offer. And sacredlight33.as.me. And you guys can of course find out linked into any of my platform bios. But all you do is just scroll through and browse. You can see everything that's available. I have my throat chakra free donation-based online workshop. That's coming up on the 24th for the throat chakra. And you guys can book directly there, as well as check out any of the details. And then I have my Lionsgate 8/8 Ohio retreat coming up this week. And then I have one-day retreats at home that you can do. Oracle readings, meditations, crystal healing, chakra, Reiki, light language, inner child healing, weekly life guidance, which I spoke on a little bit in the beginning. But you guys can just browse through here, sacredlight33.as.me, and you guys can check out any of my services anytime. Just reach out if you have questions. Gladly answer them for you guys.
Very cool. I like your website.
Thank you. I like yours.
Thanks.
All right. So that does it for episode 1 of Spiritual Recovery. And wow, what a juicy one. So much beautiful, beautiful knowledge and wisdom throughout this whole episode on various different topics. And thank you to all of you that have commented, viewed, and participated in the live setting, either on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And thank you to all of you that will be viewing in another time and space. And appreciate all subscribers and followers as well. Next episode, it's looking like we're probably going to touch a little bit on some of the misconceptions and some of the misleading and misguiding ways of teachings and capitalism that's being utilized upon spiritual knowledge and wisdom. Kind of like what you could say is that cliche new age type of information, where it's kind of distorting our ancient knowledge, kind of distorting the actual reality of what we are into different ways of externalizing the power, capitalizing, and some other things as well. Along with that, we'll also be touching on the wonderful, I believe it's the Hawkins diagram, which is the diagram.
And the Abraham Hicks one too. The Abraham Hicks one is the one I'm most familiar with. And then the David Hawkins one is from a book, Power versus Force, which I highly recommend. I have to read it again. I read it a while back.
Hey, if you have the book, then maybe we can pull it up on the live.
Yeah, I'll find it for sure. It's a good
That'd
one.
be sweet.
It's all about energy, you guys. It's all like everything's energy and frequencies, and that's what we're going to be talking about. It all goes together. And like Marcus said, this it's ancient wisdom. This isn't anything new. This is just universal laws, and people are kind of abusing this ancient wisdom and capitalizing in ways that it's kind of shady. A little bit shady, making it
Definitely
like a
shady.
superstition. But this is, I believe this is what it wasn't called law of attraction, but Jesus was definitely teaching this stuff. Jesus was teaching all of
Yes.
it and letting us know that we're all connected to God. And I think he was just unfortunately very much just like what still happens today. People were scared of him and they misinterpreted him, and it unfortunately didn't. His teachings were dismissed instead of being embraced. And this isn't anything new that we're talking about. This is all old ancient wisdom about energy. So
Yep. And not to get into the topic, but that's what happens when we put figures and people on pedestals. It creates those dynamics where we start misconceiving people of what they're actually portraying, what the actual spiritual messages are that are coming through them. And it gets distorted through our wounds and distortions. And it can cause many different things. And as you see, it ended up becoming a taking of a life because of misunderstandings. And that's why Yeshua said, Father, forgive them as they don't know what they are doing, because they were filled with ignorance
right.
of the truth and reality. But that's a topic for another day.
Well, and Yeshua always also said that we can do all the stuff he was teaching. He said that we can do all of this and more. He was trying to tell us, he was trying to show you, which is what Marcus and I are trying to show you, your own power. It's about self-empowerment. We're trying to show you that you have this within you. We aren't special. We're all the same, we're all the same. We're all from the same source, and you can do it too. You just have to want to. So if you want to, follow the people who inspire you, whether it's us or not, follow those people and do what they do. And that is a huge way that you're going to reach your goals, no matter what your goals are.
Definitely. And as always, you can always take this information with a grain of salt, and you can discern it and take it or leave it. Always. Just know that nobody's here to try to manipulate you or make you believe anything. We're just here to share some messages, knowledge, and wisdom, and you can take it or leave it.
Beautiful.
All right, everybody. Have a blessed and beautiful day. Be on the lookout for the next flyer and the next event link, as we will post it and let you guys know when episode 2 arrives. Wholeness and balanced love.